You were intimating that there's possibly a little concern about his stability, and if you look at his pictures, he does look a little different, to put it mildly.
He looks like another self-satisfied, trendy know-it-all.
Definitely. And I believe that, again, with the dumbing down of America, it can't happen to me syndrome. I can't have Ebola. I can go through.
Well, maybe that. Now, maybe he's just a super arrogant person. My point is, you're supposed to self-quarantine in the country after you've been with the patients in the super hot zone. You move out to the edge of it, wait at least 30 days, not 21. This is what they did before. Then you come back. Then you self-quarantine once you get here. But he didn't do that. Instead, he got a fever, just like this nurse in Dallas calls the CDC and goes, I've been treating the Ebola patient. I've got a fever. Can I fly? Of course, baby. Now, are we really buying this?
No, we're not. Also, don't forget, we just had in New Jersey land in Newark Airport Tuesday a woman who was taken off the plane believing to have Ebola and scattered off to a particular hospital. The hospital we don't know about, but we believe it's University Hospital because there was a lot of activity going around at the hospital at that time. But what happened to her? We haven't heard a thing about her since.
That's the thing. We never hear about where these quarantine people go. And now we have medical doctors telling us that they're being disappeared and naming the hospitals. And there's just zero coverage other than DrudgeReport.com and Infowars.com. And I want to draw attention to this malfeasance, what clearly is becoming, deliberate criminal neglect, so that they will put the things in place to stop it before it goes airborne when it gets cold. And that's what the Army says it does. U.S. Army, Ebola goes airborne once temperature drops. That's the headline. Everyone should get this article out to everyone they know, Infowars.com. Thank you so much. Now, what I'm going to do is finish up with 3 more calls, go to break, come back with Tosh Plumley, who we do have on the line. I really appreciate him joining us. He's been getting some serious threats lately, and it's important for him to stay in the spotlight. So he joins us with his maiden voyage on video Skype. So it's like he's in the room, literally. We're going to him in just a few minutes. Real fast, Brenton, Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, real quick before I get background noise, I just wanted to bring up a point that I think we have a lot of talk about containing this virus to the hospital, but I'm actually worried about what is stopping a sympathizer from going to the hospital, infecting themselves, and then going out into the public. It's obvious we're going to have a lot of sympathizers for the people with...
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of fellow traveler, Al Gore eugenicists that think there's too many people. And you've got all these doctors and biologists that go to school and send us threatening letters saying we're going to wipe all the humans out. The FBI has gone and investigated people I've talked about on air. I mean, Bianca and others. But his graduate students that are now bioweapons workers. Why would you give somebody a bioweapon job who talks about how they want to kill everybody? See, this is 12 monkeys, folks. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's a test run for that or maybe the real deal. Did your phone come back, Brent?
Yes, sir, it did. Alex, one more quick point, if I could. I've seen one person die in my life up close, and that I really believe it gave me post-traumatic stress. It severely affected me, and these doctors are seeing death in mass, and I could see how that could make somebody sympathize with the people that they're watching die, and seeing Americans' view on this, currently with them ignoring the situation that we're facing, I could see how that could push a doctor over the edge.
It's a disaster. I hear you. I'm going to get one more, then we're going to Plumley. Let's go to Eddie in New York. Go ahead.
Yes, hi, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here in New York, just working a few blocks away from our Ebola patient, and I was thinking of giving the doctor maybe some credit, maybe he decided to talk to somebody, say, yo, should I self-quarantine myself? And they said, no, go ahead, fly. So, but then you were saying that Doctors Without Borders is CIA front, so that went out the window.
Well, I mean, listen, all I'm saying is, why'd this other nurse fly? Are they creating a fake narrative? Is this even accurate? Is this even real? Is it an Ebola simulant? Like Steele, former CIA operative, said, or agent, said last week here, or he actually said it a month ago, and then he came back last week. I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. It's just very suspicious, and they lie and say that he did self-quarantine when he didn't. The fix is in. Tosh Plumley coming up. He'll be with us about 15 minutes of the next hour, so he gets a full hour. And then we've got Dr. Francis Boyle to talk about Ebola. He was already on a couple days ago. I want him back on because he's such an expert on biological weapons. That's all coming up today. Tosh Plumley on Benghazi and more. Straight ahead.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Blockit Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. Blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy. It's already too late. Criminals have kicked in your door and are now in your home. Before this happens, homeowners have a choice. 1, do nothing and hope you aren't one of the 1.4 million families attacked each year. Or 2, refuse to be a victim. And for as low as $59, reinforce your doors with Door Devils. Door Devils simply attach to existing door frames and have proven to stop the biggest bad guys from kicking in doors. Read our police testimonials of real-life events at doordevil.com. Alarms don't stop kick-ins. We do. Doordevil.com.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
Do you lay awake at night and worry about the health and safety of you and your loved ones? Do you wonder what would happen if you weren't able to get to a hospital or doctor? How can you keep your family safe against the deadly pathogens that are beginning to emerge in the world today? Give yourself peace of mind with Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver is turning heads around the world as a new weapon in the fight against bacteria, viruses, and fungus. Supernatural Silver can be taken internally or used topically to help the body's own immune system fight off disease much more effectively. Supernatural Silver has been tested at independent universities and laboratories around the world and has been proven to be safe and highly effective against some of the planet's deadliest pathogens. There is no better product to have in your home for daily use or emergency preparedness. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, use the code SILVER2014 for 20% off, and give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed. She's all alone in her time of need. Because he's racing.
Well, I'll tell you who's been going the distance, and he's with us for about 15 minutes into the next hour. That's William Tosh Plumley. And he joins us now via video Skype for the TV viewers and radio listeners out there across the world. Again, I'm your host, Alex Jones. William Robert Tosh Plumley. If I go over his whole bio, it would take an hour. But he's just a living legend, really, if you study this area of history. The 1950s, he worked as a contract pilot for the secret CIA flights, including some for William King Harvey, Tracy Barnes, and William Rip Robertson, and flew arms directly to Fidel Castro when the U.S. was backing him in Cuba prior to the overthrow of Batista. He was never an official CIA employee. After Castro, the U.S. turned against him. Tosh flew arms to Castro's opponents. In '62, he worked on Operation Mongoose as both a pilot and undercover CIA covert action group operative. He later worked as an undercover pilot in operation during the Ronald Reagan administration drug war, flying arms, Nicaraguan Contras, and cocaine back to the United States. Of course, one of Gary Webb's sources he used. In what was to become known as the Iran-Contra scandal, Tosh flew arms to John Hull's ranch in Costa Rica, returning with loads of cocaine offloaded at U.S. air bases. In '77, Plumlee testified. See, he did all this after he testified to Frank Church and his Select Committee on Intelligence Activities. People ask, well, how could he do this? And also on the, Plumlee testified that their assignment was to stop the planned assassination of John F. Kennedy. You could interview this guy for 50 hours. We got a long segment coming up, but this is a short one. And he explains how he's still alive. He's part of the white hat government. And we could call kind of the Pentagon-affiliated CIA group. And from my deep research and being a conduit through the years, I'm not part of any agency, never been trained by any agency, any group. I've had some family that was in the CIA and other groups. But I have always had sources in the FBI, Secret Service, CIA. I mean, you hear colonels, generals. I've had former chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff on. The point is that the reason I'm alive, the reason Tosh is alive and others is that there is a light side to all this. The problem is the dark side's taking over. And I'm not putting words in his mouth. He said that before, and I found that to be true. Now, he first wants to respond to John McCain that attacked him in this short segment, and then we'll play the video next segment, and then we'll get into the latest on Iran-Contra, the latest on Gary Webb and the new film, Kill the Messenger, and the latest on Benghazi. That's really the big issue. And his sources in NATO and in the military, the Pentagon, on what really happened there that's now been proven to be correct. A year after he said all this on the show, it's now come out about the Stinger missiles, you name it. So, Tosh, I've done a 3-minute introduction. You got 3 minutes to break. What do you want to get into first?
Well, I don't know where to start. I guess we'll start with McCone. Let me make one statement about your Ebola and the doctor. In my cases, when you fly into many, many different countries and you're there for a short time, something like that, you start to build up you're sensitized to believe that you're not going to come down with anything. Sometimes you're vaccinated, sometimes you're not. When you have hands-on, day in, day out, 24/7, in a situation like that, I've flown with some of the doctors, border doctors, and whether they're CIA or not, I mean, hell, CIA has filtrated everything out there, good and bad. But you'll see that they sort of get an attitude like, well, it's not going to happen to me. I've been dealing with these people. We went through this with the AIDS crisis in Africa. And then doctors especially began to think, well, I've been working this long with it, so I'm not going to catch it. In other words, I'm immune to it or whatever. And that could be because of lack of education and not knowing how serious this particular strain of Ebola is. There's many different strains of Ebola. Now, whether they're used as warfare or whatever, I wouldn't know that. And I'm not picking up for the doctor. I think he used bad judgment in going out and making contact. But I think it was probably more in good intentions because he honestly believed that he could not be infected.
So he's probably a great guy and a hero, just thought he was bulletproof.
Well, that happens to all of us. Some of us that say that we think that we're bulletproof, we find out we're not, regardless of what's out there.
By the way, we're going to break, and I'll give you the floor when we come back. But talk about bulletproof. You have been doing covert operations since the 50s and are still doing it. Amazing. You've lived a charmed life, I think.
Well, the reason, real fast, I know you're going to break. The reason for this is to put it out in the sunshine before the fact. We'll get into some of this stuff about Webb and so on like that, and my personal feelings along those lines. It's not easy to know these things and then keep them suppressed.
Exactly. I know the feeling. Stay there. William Robert Tosh Plumley will give you his Facebook and more straight ahead.
We're on the march.